Welcome back to episode 2 of Kane's Local Podcast. My name is Kyle, one of your hosts, along with my brother Cameron and my father Paul. We are talking Canes hockey, game 1, game 2 of the season. Canes start off 2-0. We're going to jump right into game 1, a big 5-3 win at home versus Ottawa, game 1 of the season. And we're going to go ahead and kick off the show with that. You guys both were there, as you guys are both season ticket holders. Take me through the atmosphere of that game. What was it like? You know, were the Canes revving early, or was it a slow start for them?
I think it was sort of I'll call it opening night jitters. I think the first period was everybody looked out of sorts a little bit. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but again, in all fairness, Ottawa I think played a really good road period. So I think for the first period, it was there wasn't a lot of connectivity in the passing and I think as Cam mentioned before on an earlier, it looked like beer league hockey in the first period. And then I think, I mentioned to somebody there as well, I said, the second period will be better. And it was. So, and the crowd itself was ridiculous. It was sold out. It was a great opening night experience. I don't expect it to be any less throughout the whole season. The crowd here has become unbelievably, energetic about the team and gets into every game. And even if they don't understand the game sometimes, which we tend to hear as we sit around and listen to people, they still love being there. So that's the most important piece. So that's my takeaway was slow start, great finish, crazy crowd.
And then Cam, defensively, first period, we go down 1-0. Did you see anything from the defensive end of the game that you thought wasn't great or we could have improved on in that first period?
I guess not too much. I mean, they still played well. It was 1 goal, so it's not a huge issue. But yeah, I mean, it's the team as a whole. It just looked kind of slow. They just looked like everybody's gripping their stick too tight, kind of thing. Just slapping the puck around, not really taking care of the puck. The passes weren't, sometimes they seem tethered when you look at the Canes. It's just like, they look like the puck's on a string passing to people because it's so crisp and on the tape, and that just wasn't how it was in the first for the Ottawa game. So, I mean, I don't think like I said, they didn't make a whole lot of adjustments other than I think they woke up in the second and they finally started to play the way that they can play, and they realized, okay, this is what we're supposed to feel like. So, and yeah, the crowd was pretty crazy. At points, it felt like a playoff game. It was so loud in there, for sure. I mean, it's probably going to sell out close to every night, which is a huge change from 10, 12, 15 years ago. I remember we used to go to the games when we were really young. I mean, you used to be able to move down to the bottom bowl halfway through the game just because it was empty. Like,
yeah,
and now it's, you can't even leave your seat, because you're worried that somebody in the, concession stand area is going to take your seat. Everybody wants to watch. So it's changed a lot for sure. And yeah, like you said, I don't expect it to change at all throughout the year. It's going to be like that pretty much every game. Especially when these big name teams come into town, because now their fans are going to be trying to get tickets along with our fans who already have the season tickets, because our season ticket numbers are through the roof at this year. We've seen a huge jump in those. So
actually, I would like to report on that. We have a record high number of season tickets sold this year. We only have 11 remaining, apparently. Apparently, there's only 11 season tickets remaining out of the amount that they allot, which I think is up to a 75% capacity. They're allowed to fill up to 75% with season tickets. So that's crazy numbers just to see that. Yeah.
Especially in this market. I mean, it just shows how involved the fans have become in this team, invested in this team. Because I mean, like as Cam said, 10, 15 years ago, it was like, okay, we get a ticket, somebody gave it to us for free, and that's the only reason we're going. But now it's, you go through and you get there, and Cam can attest to this, is you show up there an hour before the game and you're already parking in the nosebleeds, so to speak. because everybody's set up at 4:00. They're tailgating, and
Oh yeah.
it's an event. It's not just a game anymore. It's an event. It's the whole day is allocated to. It's almost like it's not as intense, I don't think, as college football, but it's getting pretty darn close to being that level of fan involvement when it comes to the tailgating aspect of it at a Canes game.
Yeah, for sure. And just to go back kind of to a little bit of the hockey aspect of that first game, that first period. Yeah, you could just tell that the intensity was there from Carolina. Ottawa played a really good road period, just took away the neutral zone, made it hard for them to pass it through the neutral zone, and just tried to clog everything up through the middle. Try and disallow as many opportunities as you can. But the big thing that I noticed was the intensity was there still for the Canes. It just was, it seemed like everybody was a step off in the passing department. That was the only thing holding up, as my assistant starts to talk here. That's the only thing holding up as far as, just it wasn't connecting, it wasn't making tape to tape, but everything was, the ideas were correct, the concepts were correct. It just wasn't the connection portion of it, which typically will take a good chunk of time for some of these new guys to get to. But this is why I love that we always go on this big road trip early, is because it's about the easiest way to get connected with a team is going on a road with them for 2 weeks. So for some of those new guys, new faces, or returning faces, it makes it a little bit easier to get back to that adjustment period. After the first period, though, I thought the Canes played a good 40. I thought we probably took off about 5 minutes in this third period. Ottawa.
Yeah, I'd say it's more of a minute and a half.
Like it was like
they get a shorthanded goal and then they scored right away. And of course, the tying goal. I mean, that Stützle kid, he's just an elite shooter. I mean,
he's crazy.
I mean, he was right in front of us, and he had literally no room, and he just found a space. So, so I mean, it was one that I think Freddie wants to have back, though. I don't think it's one that he looks at the videotape and he's like, oh, okay, I didn't have much of a chance on that one. But it did come off a pretty elite shooter. It showed.
When you got Timmy Stützle coming down on you, it doesn't matter where you're shooting it from. But it's funny because we'll talk more about that the secondary goal. But sorry, I'm grabbing the dog's toy so he can wrestle with me for a second. But the thing I noticed is even in the LA game, and maybe it's just a trend in the 2 games that we've had, a couple really weird angle goals going in. Maybe it's just goaltending jitters as well too. They're trying to get into the swing of things, get their first couple saves, get back into it. But I really did notice that the goaltending seemed like it was just like Freddie looked good, and then there was that, like I said, that goal where it's just like a tough angle shot. It's a very weird shot. Maybe just wasn't expecting it, but that's, I guess, the nature of the new shooter nowadays is they're just shooting from everywhere and anywhere, and they know how to score from anywhere and everywhere now.
Right.
That's the big thing you notice. I'll tell you what, though. Game 1 MVP line is that stall line because they set the tempo third period and they just rode it out the rest of the way. And can I just add, Jacob Slavin, for anybody that doesn't believe he's a goal scorer, he's an absolute goal scorer.
Oh, that was an insane shot.
My God, he's a goal scorer.
Yeah.
Just through and through.
Which really surprised me. I don't want to jump ahead to last night, but it surprised me they didn't put him in the shootout last night.
I was also surprised as well too by that. But another couple things that I just wanted to point out from game 1 was I thought Jarvis made a very noticeable impression. He looked very good. I think that line is going to be very good from the first 2 games. The Bunting, Aho, and Jarvis line. I think it's just a connection piece at this point. You can tell Bunting isn't 100% sure of what Jarvis and Aho are going to do. And so you can tell he still kind of has that idea of when you're playing with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, they never dump the puck in. They never leave the puck anywhere. They are trying to control the puck 24/7. Unfortunately, and maybe it's just the style of play too. Aho and Jarvis don't play that kind of style. It's going to be more of a chip it into the corner, let's go get it, and then we'll work it down low, cycle it, which I think is going to benefit Bunting's game in the long run. But when you're coming from playing with a guy like Matthews and Marner, where they're just going to constantly be thrifting around the ice with the puck, it's hard to kind of make that adjustment into two guys that are going to be, you're going to have to board battle the whole time, because that's what Aho and Jarvis do. They just work their beanbag off down low.
Yeah, and I think what he comes to a different market too, which I think is going to be helpful for him, because playing in Toronto is tough as it is. But playing in a line with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner it makes it even tougher, because if you make a move like he makes in the power play, like he scores that goal, okay, if he does that in Toronto and say, for instance, either Marner or Matthews was wide open, the question is going to come from the press is like, why didn't you pass the puck, or why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that, rather than just, if he got the goal, okay, great, but here he doesn't have that pressure. And I think that's the beauty of a player like that. He comes to here and he can not do what he wants, but he doesn't have to do what people expect him to do, because he's on line with Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews.
Yeah, and I think Jarvis has changed his game a lot over the summer, at least from last year. He's gotten lighter and stronger. I heard that last night on the broadcast. I didn't realize how much.
Yeah, he's 8 pounds lighter, but 9 pounds of muscle put on. So that means net loss of what, 18, 17 pounds
17
or something
pounds,
like that. Yeah. So
that's it. Yeah. So to speak.
So he lost 17 pounds of fat, put on 9 pounds of muscle. Correct. That's a good change. That's a good flip.
Yeah,
that's a good flip for sure. One person I did want to make note of game one. I didn't think he had a great game, and I don't think he had a great game two either. Martin Necas, I think he's struggling. He's gone back to the headspace of he needs to do it by himself. And that was completely different than the headspace he was in last year, where he was looking to dish the puck. He was looking to make quick, easy plays. And maybe it's the fact that he scored 70 points last year that he thinks he needs to be the superstar that can walk through everybody and do it. We don't need that from him. We need him to get and be a playmaker and be the guy that he was last year, because that's when he's the most effective. And I think that he's looked a bit slow, a bit sluggish in not in the skating or the hands department, but in the thinking department. I just don't think he's thinking the game real clearly right now, and I think it will come back. I think he's too good. I think he'll focus it and realize what he's doing wrong. But right now, I think he's just trying to do it too much by himself. But on the contrary, another guy in his line that I've liked, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, I thought's looked great so far this year.
That was for me, that's to be expected. He made huge leaps and jumps last year, and for that to continue to carry over to this year just shows how he just is continuing. He's not only getting better, but he's being better more consistently. So he's more consistently better every single game that he plays, and that's huge. They were talking. I can't remember where I was watching this. It might have been on another podcast somewhere. They were talking about some of the best, guys that are underpaid for how well they play the game, and Kotkaniemi wasn't on that list. And I don't know. I feel like he's, out of all the guys that are getting paid lots of money, to have him on the contract we have him on, for how long we have him on it, and for how much and how good he's going to be for how many years, is just we definitely got a steal from Montreal on that one for sure.
I think also game one too. I don't want to lose sight of the a little bit of the call it disconnectivity of the flow of the game. We had 7 defensemen, and we only had a fourth line that was 2 guys. A winger was dropping down, so it just didn't. The flow of the game didn't really take off. I mean, even in the second and third period. I mean, we obviously won the game, but I just think that fourth line, they played good minutes. I mean, the Drury played 9 minutes. I mean, Nason played 11, and but to have that 7th defenseman, I think that sort of hurt us a little bit. I know why Rod did it. He thought Chatfield earned a spot on opening night, so he went that route, which I get. I respect that. But he didn't see much ice time, and nor did the fourth line saw a decent ice time, but they were out there with somebody different every time, which is sometimes a little bit tough because you guys know as well as I do that bottom six is the sort of the bread and butter of what we've been in the past, and they help transition games from momentum from one shift to the other. So we didn't have that necessarily with our fourth line on opening night.
Yeah, I like the concept of having Chatfield go in. I think that running 7D and you like you said, you just never get into the swing of things, and you never get fully into it because you're always constantly trying to have to figure out what D pairings having to go out there, and then you're trying to get Nason and those guys into it. You can't do it when you can only play 4 or 5 minutes a night, and Chatfield only played 4 minutes. So
yeah,
I mean, it wasn't like he was out there a ton anyways. So if he's racking off 11 12 minutes, and then he's making a difference and a huge contribution, I understand maybe continuing on with the 7 defensemen. But I just from that point of view, if we're only going to play him for 4 minutes, what's the point in having the 7 defensemen?
Right, and I think that's why they took him out the second game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
who did
but
you?
I know, and the other guy too. Sorry, Cam, I don't mean to step over you here, but the guy that I thought he struggled. I think he got better, but I don't think he got significantly better throughout the game. And I know we pumped his tires up a little bit, or at least I did, anyways, on the first podcast. But I thought Pesce struggled right out of the gate, and I thought he had an okay game. I would have thought that they would have gone more to Chatfield in his spot to see kind of, how the flow went, just to get an idea. I get, Pesce's Pesce. He's one of our top 4 defensemen, but he just struggled. And whether it was just the team we were playing against because they were more physical. They're a different team. Ottawa's definitely a different team than LA for sure. I mean, Ottawa is more of I guess I'll call it a Canadian style setup. They don't go north south. They go east west. They bang you. They clog up the middle. They don't give you much room. They don't give you any space. And where LA is more of a run and gun team, kind of like we are. I mean, they're set up just like we are almost. So.
Yeah, for sure. But so any final thoughts on game 1?
So I was going to ask what
go ahead.
I can go last, but who was your first star for the night, for opening night? Because I know that it can be biased when it's whoever at the arena doing it, just because they're looking at who had the most points, but who do you think had the best game out of everybody?
I got a 1A and a 1B, quite honestly. Even though he had a soft goal, I thought Freddie was, in my mind, he made a couple of key saves early on in the game to keep it 1-0. And then I thought the D pairing of Slavin and Burns I thought they were really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're Slavin and Burns are supposed to be good, but I thought when push comes to shove, they were exceptionally good to keep the game in check when everything was sort of unraveling in the first and early in the second period. So that would be mine.
Yeah, I want to go with 2 as well too, and it's gonna be 2 different guys. I think Jordan Staal, he was the first star of the game, and in all honesty, I think he probably deserved it. Scoring big goal to in the start the third period, and then on top of that, just the relentless pressure that line puts on every consistent night. They're the one line that you can put them out there against just about anybody, and you know what you're going to get. It's not always going to be perfect, and it's not always going to be pretty, but it's pretty much always going to be effective. There's always going to be some sort of effect that they have on the game. And like I said, it's not always going to be the prettiest thing in the world, but I think I think Jordan Staal definitely set the tone for the Canes that night. My secondary one that I'm going to go with is Teuvo Teravainen.
He was my honorable mention.
I thought Turbo just looks different than he did last year. He looks more aware. He looks more. He looks like he wants to be here. I thought last year, and I don't know if there was something going on personally, anything along those lines. You never want to speculate on a guy or anything like that, but he looked like he mentally was not with the Canes last year. He just kind of looked like he was elsewhere throughout the year. This year, I think he looks like he's fully here. He looks like he's fully invested. He looks like he wants to win another cup. And you can tell by his skating, his passing, everything looks precise. He's thinking the game. I mean, his goal, the first goal, the one against Ottawa, the way he drifted off the back of the defense, all all five of the guys are on one side of the ice, and he just completely drifts off the back of the defenseman, leaves himself wide open. It was a great pass by Natchez, and I know Natchez got the assist on that one, and we were talking about him not looking his best. I think that was a good shift for him, but I just don't think
that was his highlight. I mean,
I don't think overall he's looked amazing. But that the way that Turbo just instinctively backed off the defenseman, I think that was just you can tell he looks like he's more aware, more alert. But Cam, I want to know who you had.
So I want to quickly touch on your point. The only other person that I saw over the last couple of games that scored a goal like Teravainen was Draisaitl. So scoring from almost that below the hash mark, bottom of the circle position, so again, that's where Draisaitl scores a lot of his goals. So if Teravainen can be in that area a lot more and be that accurate, he's going to score a ton this year. So
and it's funny. Let me interject here something real quick. I was talking to some people about that goal, and it was like everybody called it. It was almost like a mishit. He didn't look like this or that. And I'm like, guys, look. Said he was probably at a 75-degree angle from the net. And tough. He put it in a space that was just wider than the puck.
Yeah.
I was like, so when you do that, whether you miss it or not,
it's a great shot.
It's a great shot. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you can't discount the guy has absolute accuracy, laser accuracy. I mean, and that's a goal scorer's goal right there.
It's funny because he played with him earlier on in his career, and I'm not saying every aspect of his game reminds me of this player, but the one-timers remind me a lot of Patrick Kane and the way he shoots the puck. And we will talk about it again in the LA game, but that goal just reminds me of a goal that the Chicago Blackhawks scored against the
also
LA
too,
Kings.
when he goes down on one knee, it's like you got Sid the Kid on the other side. I mean, just from on the off wing.
He gets so much on it. But anyways, I want to go back. Cam, who is your MVP? I want to know who it is.
So this might be a hot take. I don't know, but I really do think he swayed the game for the Canes to be able to win. I think it was Tony DeAngelo. Now, the reason I say this is in the third, right after we got that minute and a half lapse where we got scored on twice, the game was tied. He's going 1,000 miles an hour. He's pestering everybody. He's getting under everybody's skin. He's hitting people, sticking them in the back of the leg. Like he's doing everything possible to get under the skin just to get something going. And sure enough, we get a goal just a couple minutes later. Like I think that's what we were missing last year. We're missing that kind of somebody that's going to say, okay, well, last year, it almost felt like it was kind of, I mean, the third was our period last year for sure. But yeah, I think he did a lot of good things. I think he was surprised. There's a reason why he's starting over Chatfield.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really do think he showed a lot. Now this might change, give it a month or two. I don't know. He might, change a lot, or he might get injured or hurt or anything and not play the best. But yeah, I thought for me, he was the reason that the Canes won the game on the first game they won against Ottawa. So yeah, he was my pick. And like I said, I mean, he may not have played the greatest throughout the rest of the game. I mean, I think he played okay, but I think him doing what he did in the third.
Well, he understood what needed to happen.
Exactly.
He understood. It's like a guy, you don't always have to fight, but but he sticks up for his team. The one thing I saw too, Cam, and I agree with you. I really hadn't thought about him overall as an overall perspective, but I think in a momentary, event on the ice that changed the complexity of the game. I don't disagree with you, actually, the more I think about it. And one play was, I think somebody got in somebody's face and he just skated across the circle and he said, no problem. Said, let's go. You're not going to do that to our guy. Said, you can do it to me, but you're not going to do it to him. So that in itself, and at the end of the game, how about Jordan Staal? I mean,
yeah, no. But
going after Grady
that's all the
Tkachuk.
culmination starting from Tony starting that.
Yeah, agreed.
And then
Agreed.
that
And
kind of
that's
chippiness led through the rest of the game. So
yeah,
it's huge. I think that
yeah,
literally changed the game for the Canes in the
yeah.
third, because I don't know what would have happened.
Especially against a team like Ottawa, because they do
Yeah.
have that emotional intensity that some teams don't have.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see it last night. You didn't see literally any of that intensity last night, because the two teams that played last night are almost exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
They play the exact same game. So,
well, yeah, that was game 1 in the books. Carolina 5-3 win. Game 2, the Canes head out on the road to face the LA Kings, and you know where our favorite spot to watch any road game is.
well, we'd like to welcome to our podcast a new sponsor right out of the gate, which is exciting for us. Lap and Blue is a jazz bar located in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. They do have live music and no cover, yes, but from 5 to 7 after that. You like as Chip likes to say, the warm glow overtakes the bar like a beaver finding a hard log in a raging river. And this is a hockey bar. Hockey's been in Raleigh since the Ice Caps came to Dorton Arena. And then the Canes migrated from Hartford down to Greensboro and over to Raleigh. So we'd like to invite you out to go out. Lap and Blue. It's a jazz bar in Chapel Hill, and it's owned and operated by hockey guys. It's a hockey bar, and we'd like to encourage you guys to head out there. And they do say that they're owned by a small cadre of alcoholic supermodels, as they like to call themselves. And Lap and Blue, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. We'd like to invite you out there and let them know where you heard it. Thanks.
Well, game 2 took place in LA last night for us. We're recording this on Sunday, October 15th. Canes do have Anaheim tonight, but we wanted to make sure we got you guys out our post on the first 2 games. Carolina wins 6-5 in LA. Shootout win, and as I like to describe it, it was an perfect start to the season, because that was about as ugly as a win as we could muster up. But it's 2 points, and 2 points is 2 points.
Yeah, I was gonna say in that game, maybe if I jump right in, but I don't know if you guys thought we played well, but I don't think we played well at all. I think we played, maybe a shift or 2 here or there, but we scored early and often, which is always good, but always bad. Could be bad at the same time, because then you start taking your foot off the gas, or you start making individual plays that you're not normally making. You get out of your team system, and it was pretty evident last night that I guess the highlight of our game was maybe the penalty kill. I mean, we got 2 shorthanded goals, but also we gave up 2 power play goals. So, or 3 actually. But
2.
It was 2. So,
Sad part is we gave up 2 power play goals, and we still almost had an 80% penalty kill, because they almost had 10 freaking power plays.
Yeah, I know.
It's a lot.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to complain about it. And it went both ways, and both teams got messed over with calls, but they are calling so many of these little ticky-tack, they're nothing plays, and they happen so many times in a game. And if you're not going to call every single one of them, then don't call them at all, because the 3 holds Carolina had to LA's 1 hold, well, the holds were happening all night. Nobody was not calling. Like, they were happening everywhere across the ice. And when you play hockey, they happen everywhere across the ice. So if you're going to call one ticky-tack hold, you got to call them all. Well, they screwed themselves in the first by calling a ticky-tack one, and then they just didn't kind of fulfill the fruition of calling every single one of them. So it just felt a little bit odd on that side.
I think the makeup call was, quite honestly, the Aho call in the third, when they just earlier penalized a guy for, I guess I don't remember if it was a trip or or what it was, but I mean,
that should have been. We should have been down 5-on-3 if they were going to call it, because the LA guy, or we had possession of the puck before the LA guy tripped the guy. So if we were getting a penalty, then it should have just been an Aho penalty. I don't know how the LA guy got a penalty there, unless
Well,
the
he tripped
referee.
Burns for sure. There's no
Yeah,
doubt.
but the thing is if Aho had a penalty, Burns had possession of the puck, so the whistle should have
No, I
been
get it.
blown and the game should have been dead. But they did let
Yeah.
it play on because they
Yeah, I
weren't going
know.
to
It
call
was-
Aho until the guy tripped him. So
Yeah,
it's like,
it
okay,
was-
so
it was
Aho's was
crazy.
either a penalty or it wasn't a penalty. Make up your
Yeah.
mind, because it was either it's only Aho or it's only the LA guy going. It shouldn't have been
Yeah.
both, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's
well,
either-
they had 7 opportunities to our 4, so
Yeah.
we, you know, again, it's some of them we deserved for sure. They were penalties, no doubt, but some of those at the end, I was just like, you know, come on. And then
Yeah.
you know the high sticking penalty. Then I said, guys, if you call that, I'm gonna lose my stuff right in front of the television here.
Oh, I know. But I thought so I don't know, maybe just me. I thought Kane's first period, we looked like the way better team
Mhm.
for about 10 minutes of it. And then the rest of the game, we looked like the second best team.
Mhm.
I thought, and I kind of expected the opposite, where I figured we might have a good 10 minutes at some point towards the second latter half of the game, or we might have a good like third or something like that. Usually when you're traveling all the way across the country, it takes you the first period to get used to it. Apparently the Canes legs acted different. Because the first period, first 10 minutes, we went up 3-0, 4-0, 4-1 in the first. Crazy
Yeah,
out.
it was 3-1 after 1.
It's 3-1 after the first.
Crazy outburst of offense in the first period. I just don't think we were ever able to maintain that speed since then. And if you want to talk about speed, Carolina was 0 for 4 on the power play last night.
Mhm.
First power play, we actually skated and we actually moved our feet and we actually created chaos in the offensive zone. And it was the only good power play. And then after that, we go right back to what Carolina does best, with a stagnant power play and 4 guys standing at the blue line while one guy tries to enter the zone by himself. Doesn't work. Look at the first power play. All 5 guys were down in the zone, regrouping. All 5 guys whip up the ice, all with speed. And guess what? We make clean zone entry. We set up, and we actually have an opportunity to make something happen. But then the rest of the night, we just decided, no, we don't want to move our feet.
Yeah, no, that was be my only negative on Kotkaniemi was his, you know, sort of quarterbacking those power plays. I mean, he tried to do too much of that, you know, zone entry by himself, you know, but again, does he have an opportunity? I think if you don't see a spot, then you just dump it in and you chase it and you just regroup and try to get there, as you know. But he tried to dangle between 3 or 4 guys there a couple of times and create transition the other way. So that would be my only ding on him.
Is that if you go back and watch it, he's going up the ice and he's got the speed. But then he's the only one that's got any speed
I get
the
it.
ice, and he runs into 4 LA guys collapsing on him.
Yeah, no, I get it. His IQ's got to take over at that point and say, look, I have nothing, but I need to get the puck deep so everybody can go get it, and we need to regroup, because if I don't,
that point, we'd already dumped the puck in like 3 times, and it's just like
then dump it 4. Then dump it 4. I mean, because you create a transition the other way, and it's a 2-on-0 or a 2-on-1 the other way, and you know there was one 2-on-1. I think Jacob. He saved a goal. I mean, he played it incredibly well. You know, I thought he was miles ahead of he was probably our best player last night on the defensive side. And, you know, I thought Natchez was our worst player. Because I mean, that time, the goal, I don't know if it wasn't a tie. It was the 4th goal. He completely lost sight of the player completely. I mean, it was, you know, it was him. He was puck watching, and the defenseman just eased his way down on the wing and just created an opportunity. And you know, it looks like something's in his head right now. And
like I said, he looks like he took a step back from last year, in my opinion. Cam,
I would agree.
Going back to that 2-on-1 with Slavin, did you see the hip check afterwards? He absolutely bundled the guy on that one.
So full disclosure, I think I fell asleep after the first. So I didn't watch the full game. It was late. I'm old now. I don't know. I can't stay up. Now, if I was at Lappin' Blue, I would have been up screaming.
There we go.
But I was at the house on the couch. I was asleep. So, you know, couldn't really do much about the falling asleep. But from the first period that I did watch, and from the highlights I did watch on the game itself, the biggest indicator of how they played, they got outshot They got
Mhm.
outshot 30-19.
And that
We
doesn't
never get
happen with the
outshot.
Canes. Yeah,
That does
never
not happen.
happens with the Canes.
So that lets you know, right? You don't have to watch any of the other highlights, anything. We got outshot. We never get outshot. So the fact that we got outshot really is a big, and the fact that we were able to win too.
yeah,
That's a
Yeah.
huge thing because, early in the year, a lot of teams still trying to get to know each other. There's a lot of new guys, new pieces and stuff. You're trying to figure out how other guys play. The first 10 to 15 games of the season, if you can just scrap out wins, everything will kind of fall into place, but you just have to try and win early if you can. Because, I mean, you look at other teams around the league that are struggling hard right now. Edmonton's 0-2. They haven't won a game yet. I mean, there's a couple other teams that are struggling to get wins. And, you just have to find a way to get those wins because the plan will come into place. You just have to get those wins early. But yeah, I mean, I thought last night was definitely a lot worse for sure as a full performance than the game in Ottawa for the period and a half I watched.
Here's another thing. I know this is a sort of a Kane focused podcast, but they go down 3-0 and LA Todd McLellan sticks with his goaltender. And in most cases you see, I mean, 3 goals and he's getting yanked. And I think in my mind, that was the turning point in the game for LA because the coach had confidence in the goalie and the goalie made a few saves after that and it gave the team energy. And I think that was in my mind, that was the biggest thing. If he switches goaltenders, I think the game's completely different.
Yeah. My only thing with that is it's just, do we know the game is different? Because it's not like after we scored our 5 goals, we really tested Felix Copley all that much. I mean, we didn't even get 20 shots on
that's
him.
what I'm saying, Kyle, though. That's what I'm saying, though, is that the team in front of him played differently.
I don't think they played any differently, though.
I think
it was just purely just we started not playing our game. That was all it was. We allowed LA to come back into that game.
I think it elevated I think it elevated their play.
Yeah.
I think we just and I'm not going to discount that we didn't play great, but
I think we had our foot down on the throttle, full gas for the first 10 minutes, and then
we
once we got up 3-0, we just completely
because
took it off.
They made it hard on us to we did a nice job in the neutral zone for most of the game. I thought our D were stepping up. I think the gaps were really tight in the neutral zone. Where it comes down to is, a couple of bad pinches. I mean, guys like Brett Burns, he's going to make bad pinches. I mean, that's just who he is. I mean, it's just part of his game. So
it's our system. There's going to be bad pinches, that's how we play.
Anyways, and I think that created transition for them. And when you guys got guys like Kempe and Kopitar and where'd this Trevor Moore kid come from? I mean,
holy smokes, he's got about the hardest shot I've ever seen.
He was all over the ice. He created he was the guy that he was responsible for the first 3 penalties on the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like he was all over the place.
He's a good player. I liked watching him a lot. But I just want to point out, yes, we are a Canes focused. This is the LA did the same thing Carolina did to LA last year, and all the credit to LA. LA is a really good hockey team. I don't think they get the credit they deserve. But when you have a 3-hole punch down the middle of PL Dubois, Deneau, and Kopitar, you're going to be winning games.
Yeah, he's formerly known as Pierre-Luc.
Yeah, I was about to say, when did that name change happen?
Yeah, apparently, according to Trip Tracy, he no longer wants to be called Pierre-Luc. He wants to be called PL Dubois. So we will respect that avenue as best as we can remember it. But it is, yes.
Apologize if I don't remember and call him Pierre-Luc. So
yes, my apologies there.
I've known him that for a long time. So,
but to go to the back to Cam's point. You see the guys after the game, and I think we look at the Canes of old, even if they get this win, they're not happy with themselves. And I think you look at the team last night and they're like, you know what? We're going to celebrate it, not because we played a good game, but because we got the win. Sometimes in the NHL, sometimes in any way of life, in all honesty, it's all going to hit the fan. It's excuse my French. I didn't mean to say that, but it's all going to hit the fan. But a win's a win at the end of the day. You still got the 2 points in the bank. And might I add, I think the 3 people to score in the shootout, Martin, I don't necessarily know needs the confidence, but I think that for Aho and for Necas, I think both of those is going to be very important. And might I add, all 3 of them were disgusting goals. Aho absolutely undressed Felix Copley, and then Martinook just forehand, backhand, bar south, just as beautiful as you.
He looked like a Jacob. That's the way Jacob scores when when he shoots on the puck. He goes forehand, backhand, and right under the bar. And so as soon as they brought him out, I was like, and let's not lose sight of Freddie in the shootout. I mean, I
Freddie
think
kept us in it. Yeah,
he kept us in it. I mean, he went up against some grade A shooters. I mean, he stopped some guys that would normally score goals in on any other goaltender in the NHL, quite honestly. So, but I was really excited to see Marty score and get the winner. He's that kind of guy that's gonna elevate the room and say, guys, we played like crap. We really did, but we got the win. Park it, put it in the mirror. Let's go tomorrow. So,
yeah, for sure. You guys got any final thoughts on the game? I got one more thing before we wrap up I want to do here.
Yeah, I mean, I think just that to go back to the point of, the goalie change that could have happened. I mean, for the goalie change thing, I think if I was on the Canes or Rod or anything, if they make that goalie change, they're panicking. Automatically. They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink. They're panicking. They don't know what to do. They don't trust their goalie.
Right.
They don't, that because that in and of itself is a mental game. Then if you're the Canes, you're like, oh man, we already made him change their goalie. Let's, we're going to score 3 on this guy now. Like it's all a mental thing. So, again, that just goes to the veteran leadership presence of the coach of McClellan on the Kings. It's just he knows, like, hey, in those situations, I mean, granted, if we score one more, who knows? If they go down 4-0 in the first, like, you don't know what's going to happen to begin the second. But yeah, it's rare you see, a coach yank a goalie just in the first. They'll usually make a change between the first and the second, but he stuck with them, and that kind of, like you said, it kind of fueled their comeback to an extent for sure.
Yeah.
My point on that was just that I don't think it would have made that big of a difference in the fact of
we still would have played the
pressure.
Terrible.
I don't think we had the legs. I don't think we had we had the West Coast legs. Game 1 of the West Coast trip, we had the West Coast legs. I think tonight we're gonna have way better legs than we did last night. I think tonight's just naturally gonna feel a lot better for a lot of the guys. Plus Anaheim played last night too, so we're in the same boat as them. And they played Vegas last night.
They played the Cup champs. So
they played a tough team last night, so they're going to be beat up a little bit. So that's definitely going to help. But I just think you just saw the legs you give out on the guys, and I think we escaped with 2 points. Probably didn't deserve it, but we're going to take it. And it was a little highway robbery to start off the West Coast swing. Anybody? Any final thoughts?
2 points or 2 points.
That's it.
Exactly. Just getting wins early.
So moving on, next segment of the show, we're going to try something a little different here, and we're going for trivia time. So I got some trivia questions for you guys. You guys can work together, or you guys can play against each other, whatever one you guys want to do. But we're just going to go over some brief, it's both Canes and franchise history. So make sure you're reading the question carefully. All right. So question 1. What goalie in Carolina Hurricanes history has the longest shutout streak?
Ooh. God, that's a tough one.
This is just Hurricanes history.
Just Hurricanes, not Whalers.
Yes, just Hurricanes history, not Whalers. So if it's franchise, I'll say franchise.
Okay. Gosh.
I don't know.
I'm gonna. My guess is gonna be Archer Zerbe.
That's who I was gonna guess too. That's the only one I could think
of.
The
other guy I thought of, but I don't think he played
Weeks.
for the Canes very long. He was more of a Whalers. Would have been Sean Burke, but maybe go way back.
I know
it's either Urbe or somebody like Urbe or Trevor Kidd or one of those jokers.
Oh, actually, I'm gonna go with Martin Gerber. That's my guess.
Oh.
Cam's going Martin Gerber. Dad, you going anybody different?
No, I'll go with Urbe.
Urbe was my initial
final answer. Trevor Kidd. He has the longest 212 minutes in the first inaugural season for the Hurricanes.
In the first season. Okay.
First season that was of the Hurricanes in North 97-98 season.
He had the racing. I called them the racing pads. They were like checkerboard. They were like a checkered flag.
Oh, like yeah, okay. Those
Yeah.
old
He
Cooper
was in
pads that have that
he was
on
in Greensboro when they first came.
it. Yeah. Interesting.
right.
Okay.
Well, I had it, but I just didn't stick with it.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 2, and I'm gonna give you guys a second because I'm gonna go let him just walk outside for a sec.
That's fine.
Who is the youngest goalie to record a win in franchise history? This is franchise history, not just Hurricanes.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
okay. Well, that means it's going to be
So
a
that means
whaler
it's
then.
going to be somebody from Hartford.
Exactly. So it's not Cam Ward. So I don't know who. Now, Cam Ward wouldn't have been the youngest anyway. He was pretty old when he started for the Canes. I think
Yeah.
he was 24 or 25
Yeah, he was
when he first started.
22. Wasn't he 22? When he came into the playoff run, he was 22.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure.
I didn't know that.
Um,
Yeah,
I would-
you're right. He would think he was 22. I don't know then.
Is this a regular season win, Kyle, or playoff?
Yeah,
or
right.
Just any?
Regular season.
It has to be a
Okay,
whaler goalie,
so
but I have no idea who it
By
would
you
be.
emphasizing
honestly.
franchise, it must be Hartford. Somebody from
Who says
Hartford.
maybe I'm just trying to throw you off? Maybe I need
Yeah,
more
maybe.
goalies.
You know, I don't know many of the Hartford goalies, and there's guys like Mike
So
Liu
this one, I'm not gonna lie, this one surprised me because I had no idea he was an ex-whaler, to be completely honest with you. So,
Okay, well,
and I'm giving you a hint right there. It's an ex-whaler. So
yeah.
I'm not. I don't even have a guess. Unfortunately, I didn't. Yeah. I'm not a-
here, I'll give you a clue so you guys can get it. He is a he made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2007, but lost.
2007.
lost.
Hmm.
Who lost to Anaheim? I don't know who lost because Anaheim won the cup that year.
Sorry. Won the cup that year. He won the cup.
Oh, so Jean-Sebastien Giguère?
Yeah,
J.S.
J.S.
Giguère.
Sorry,
Okay.
I thought I don't know why I had.
That's why I was
Anaheim losing in
confused.
my
I was
head.
like,
Yeah,
I can't
sorry.
remember who lost to the Ducks.
It
but-
was Ottawa,
okay.
by the way. But
That's
yeah,
right. I forgot. Of course, Freddie Anderson was
Freddie
originally.
Anderson was a Canes draft pick as well too.
He was a Canes
originally.
draft pick
He
originally.
was, yeah.
But yeah, I had no idea. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had no idea Jean-Sebastien Giguère was a
Huh.
Whalers guy.
A whaler.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
All right.
Interesting.
Next question. This one's gonna be a little bit longer.
Oh my.
Name the 10
Oh.
players with the most amount of games played in franchise history.
Well,
10 players. Golly.
Yes.
It's got to be just Herc and France. So this is Hartford too.
Yep.
Okay, so Ron Francis is up there. Eric Stahl's up
Ding,
there.
ding, ding. Cam got one. Ron Francis, number 1.
Eric
Yeah, I was about
Stahl.
to say
Eric Stahl,
Eric
number
Stahl.
3.
Brenda Moore. It's got to be on there.
Brenda Moore is 6.
Glenn Wesley. He played with the Whalers before he
Number
came over.
2.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Gary.
I'll give you a hint. There's nobody named Gary, so I'd
No.
stick away from
Okay.
Gary.
Well, he's.
I don't
about-
know
how
what
about
Gary
I-
you're going for,
Multiple
but there
choice now.
ain't nobody there.
How about Kevin Deneen?
Kevin Deneen, number 5.
How about Wayne Babbage?
Wayne Babbage is not on there.
Okay. He was a defenseman.
So out of everybody else, only one guy didn't play for the Hurricanes at some point that I can remember. He could have played in like the 97-98 season. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you.
So how many did we missing? 3?
Let me double check.
3 or
One.
4.
I don't want to give one away. You said Deneen though, right?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're missing 5 still.
Oh, boy.
Did you say I don't know if you said them. Did you say both stalls already?
Oh, Jordan.
Yeah,
Oh, Jordan
sorry.
too?
So
Okay,
Jordan,
well,
Jordan's one of them as well too.
interesting.
He's actually number
Makes
4
sense.
on the list. So
Okay,
he's
so
only
then-
just behind Eric.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he was.
I forgot
he's
how long
in
he's
the
been
tooth.
here.
Yeah.
He's been here 9 seasons now.
I know. I always forget how long he's been here.
Yeah, he's been here
Well,
a
that's
long
yeah. Okay.
time.
We start thinking more recent guys.
All
Then,
right,
I mean,
so you guys have the top 6. You're looking for the bottom 4.
is Skinner on this?
He is. He's number 10.
Okay. What about
And then
Aho?
I'll give you no Aho. He is just off the list.
Interesting.
He's on 12.
Oh,
about-
okay.
How about Slavin?
Slavin's number 9.
Okay, so we're looking for number
So
8.
then
and
it'd
7.
probably
8
be
and number
somebody like
7.
even Pesci should be on there too.
No, Pesci's number 11. Him and
Yeah.
Aho are just outside. Pesci is going to pass Jeff Skinner this year for the top
Oh,
10 if he plays
Cam
every game.
Ward?
Nope, no Cam Ward.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
actually surprised by that. Okay.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this just only counted
Just
actual players. I don't
players?
think it counted
Yeah.
goaltenders. So I
Oh,
could be
okay.
wrong
I'm
on
thinking
that,
of
but
goalies.
I think it might have only counted for players or considered players. I don't think you guys are gonna get one guy, so I'll leave it alone. And it's Adam Burt.
Oh, okay. Well, he's another. He's a Whaler guy.
Yeah, I knew he was. I knew he was a
I think he
Whalers guy.
played in Carolina when they first came here, but
Okay, that I didn't know if he played in Carolina or not. That was
Yeah.
the one that I was like, I think he's just a Whalers guy, but I wasn't entirely sure.
mhm.
The
What
other
about,
guy, I'll give you a hint. Other guy is early Canes history. He was on the 0-2 Cup run team.
just the 0-2 Cup run, not the 0-6?
No, was not on the 0-6 Cup run.
Okay, because so that nullifies my. I was gonna guess Eric Cole, but he's not on
No.
there because he was on the 0-6 team. So 0-2, like Eric, no, Sean Hill, maybe.
Oh, you're close. It's one of those. It's like one of those guys. It's not Sean Hill.
No, I
though.
know.
But not Nick Pauline.
Nick Pauline.
Nope, not Nicky.
Huh.
Oh man.
Give you a hint. He also went on to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, that didn't help me.
No, it doesn't. Man,
What's it?
I
Give me.
don't know.
Do you have a number? I mean, that'd be a giveaway hint. But
I think it was like 92 or something like that.
oh,
He's a
Jeff O'Neill.
forward then.
Yeah, Jeff O'Neill.
O'Neill.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, was he number 92? Was I right?
he
on
was.
that?
Yeah.
That's
Was he 92?
That's a
I
sick,
honestly
that's a
yeah,
sick
he's
number
actually-
to call out.
He works for Sportsnet, I think, up in
Yeah, he
Canada now.
does.
He's a
That's- I
broadcaster.
wanted to say he's a broadcaster now, but I
Yeah.
thought that would give it away quite easily.
Yeah. Nah, he was a
So,
goal
yeah.
scorer.
Yeah, this is the
He was
list
good.
here. So not number 1, Ron Francis, number 2, Glenn Wesley, then both the Stahl boys, then Deneen, Brendan Moores, O'Neill, Burt, Slavin, Skinner.
Yeah.
This one is out there, and then we only got 2 more left, and then we'll call it a show. How many different styles of jerseys have been worn in Carolina Hurricanes history?
Different. So are we talking like completely
Different-
like new color scheme or?
Just different patterns. So it's different style jersey.
So they've had.
So I'll give you a hint. Their new third jersey and their old third jersey are 2 separate jerseys. That's the
Yeah.
way I'm classifying.
And they have the white jerseys. They went the original whites, the whites with the colors on the shoulders, and then they went with the canes across the front. So there's 3 right there. You got the Whalers, you got the retro Whalers. So that's 5.
Well, are we talking like every year when they changed to a new jersey? Like I know because when they went from CCM to Reebok, they had the pipe around the shoulder.
So
is that
I'll
the
give
difference,
you
or-
guys a hint. It has to be in my opinion, a major change to the jersey. So when they went from because on the website that I was on for the 10-year anniversary jersey, they counted just the crest as a different jersey, but it was the same jersey as the year before and year previous. So I didn't count that as a different jersey. It has to be a logistically different style. Like there has to be something that's majorly different, not just the line got a little thicker or something like that.
I would say it's probably
10.
maybe. Yeah, I was gonna say 8 to 10,
I'll say
somewhere in that
10.
range. Probably, I'll say 8.
8. And there are 15 different
Holy
style
cow.
jerseys worn by the
That's a lot.
Hurricanes. So we have the original white and red, which was the 06, basically
Maybe
from
it'll
the
be cool, Kyle.
inauguration.
Hey, Kyle, I don't know if you can do it, but you can. It would be fun if you could put it up here, and next time. we
Oh
can
yeah,
post
I
it.
can. Hold on, let me see if I can get it right now. You guys continue talking about something else. Carolina jersey history. Let me see. Here we go. So unofficial uniforms. Let me see. Can I? I'm going to make this very well known. I am using NHLuniforms.com. Go check out NHLuniforms.com. I don't want them to get all mad that I'm using their platform on here. Can you guys see me? You guys look frozen.
No, you're stuttering a little bit, but you're okay right now.
Yeah, maybe it's too much to bring it up at this
Hold on.
point, Kyle.
No, here we go. Can you guys see now? Can you guys see it?
Okay.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I have these two counted the same for me because there's nothing majorly different between them. So that's 1, 2. 3, 4, 5 for this middle one because these are all the same. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Mhm.
11, 12, 13, 14. Where'd I get the 15th one? Maybe there's only 14.
know.
Maybe I can't math. Oh, this
we
one.
win by default then, right?
The third jersey from last year because it went back to the old retro one, but it
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
completely new
Yeah,
model of that jersey. So that's the 15th one. That's where I got it
Alright.
from. So yeah, there's all the 15 jerseys Carolina has worn in their Hurricanes history.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Crazy.
Hold on. Let me stop
Yeah, it's
sharing.
wild. I didn't realize there was that
yeah.
many.
15. Well, granted, I think like 8 of them have come in the past 7 years since past however long Dundon's taken over. He's changed up all the uniforms basically.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. Speaking of Mr. Tom Dundon, what major sports league is Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon wanting to bring to the Raleigh area?
Oh, I know this one. It's
oh.
Major League Baseball.
Yep.
He wants to bring
baseball.
He wants to bring
Yeah,
a baseball
he wants the
team here.
MLB. He wants the MLB in Raleigh, North Carolina. So he came out in a press conference saying he was looking to see what options he had to. Yeah, he was trying to see what options we had to bring an MLB team to North Carolina. But
that's cool. I like this.
Yeah.
This is an unexpected segment, so it's fun to do. So keep doing it.
Just remember, everybody, when we're not at the Canes games at PNC Arena, we're going to Lapin Blue Jazz Bar, located 106A North Graham Street, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. We're going to get a couple beverages in us, watch some Canes hockey, and enjoy a good time. And you guys got anything else to add before we wrap this up?
Nope. Exciting one. And thanks to Lapin Blue for coming on, and say hi to Chip and the boys for us.
Yeah.
Perfect. Tell them the Canes podcast sent you, and they'll offer you full price. So
yeah, Canes local podcast. They'll offer you all full price, nothing
everything full price, but hey, just tell them we sent you.
Had a good time. Perfect. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
All right, guys. See ya.
Good one today.